Irashaimase. Hello and welcome to Fitaurus Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Fitaurus. First off, I want to begin by going and saying Happy New Year and welcome to the first Shoot 'em Up Saturday of 2016. So, what do we have on the menu today? Vector Strain, an indie shoot 'em up for the PC available through Steam by indie developer Omnidream Creations. So, as this is a PC title, let's take a quick second to go and look at the options. Now, there's actually quite a bit of graphic options you have available to go and set here. You have quite a few resolutions to go and set, as well as other graphical details that you can go and turn up or down. Unfortunately, my system's not very powerful, so they're set low. Well, that's too bad on my end, unfortunately. It still runs nice, and it definitely goes and looks good as well. That's the important part. One interesting feature I do want to go and point out is it has an orientation option. So it has the ability for you to go and orient the game horizontally, as we normally have our monitors, or if you have a setup that goes and allows for it, vertically. So you can go and have it displayed in a more Tate arcade style format. And I think having that kind of a feature in there is a really awesome addition to any shoot 'em up title. So, that being the case, let's get cooking and see what kind of game we got. So there are 5 ships total in the game, but 2 of them start out locked, and I haven't unlocked them yet. So, the ship out of the 3 that we have available that I prefer the most is the Predator. Now I'll go ahead and go with that. As far as the other ships, you've got the Vector, which goes and has, once the shots are fully upgraded, you go and have an interesting, but I feel somewhat slow, homing shot. And then with the Raptor, you've got a spread shot, which does go and cover a lot of ground, but isn't very powerful. The Predator does go and have a little bit of spread to its shot, but I feel as far as just raw power, this one's the one that's the best. Now here's a little bit of a minor complaint, is I feel it's actually a little bit tricky to go and navigate the menu and make sure you can go and get your cursor to where you want to go, at least playing with the gamepad. So that's something I feel they could have gone and designed a little bit better. There are 5 stages available, and if you want, you can go and do the stages individually in a training mode. But we're going to go ahead and go through normally, although I am going to go and drop the difficulty down to beginner just so I can go and focus more on giving you some choice commentary about the title. Stage 1, loading. So first off, I want to go and note that I really do go and like what they did with the layout here. Going and having your ship on the left side of the screen as well as the score information, and then on the right side of the screen, what we have displayed there in that hexagonal grid is actually the Steam achievements. So you can go and see what you've gone and unlocked, and well, if anything goes and pops, then it goes and adds to the nice grid and goes and it is a nice sense of accomplishment. In addition to that, it also goes and gives you your total number of stars, best for the stage, and if you happen to go and need it, it also goes and gives you your controls. So next up, we'll go and talk about that. We do go and have, of course, a main shot. In addition to the main shot, we also have a shield that we can go and deploy. The shield strength is on the left side of the screen, and it goes and recharges relatively quickly after use. You can go and use that to pretty much dive through any hell of bullets that go and come your way. There's also the indicator of bombs and 1-ups on that side. So one thing I want you to go and pay attention to, especially at this point, as I go and collect additional power-ups, more parts will be added to the display of the ship in the left side there, as we go and get even more and more ability to go and fire spread shots at our enemies. And I think that's a really awesome feature to go and have in there. Okay, so moving on to a little bit about the graphical look of the game. So each stage goes and has a little bit of a different theme as far as what the background goes and looks like. This one we're kind of going over some sort of craggy cliffs on an aquatic world that would go and appear. And of interesting note, each stage goes and basically has individual, or the enemies go and have an individual color scheme. So for this stage, the enemies are all colored green, which I hardly approve of. But it's an interesting touch to go and pick one particular color scheme to focus designing your enemies around. Well, yeah. But it does go and come across as giving each stage a fairly unique feel. So in addition to going and having their own color scheme, though, the enemies do go and come with their own unique looks and attacks as well. So it's not just one part of the game that's designed that way. So we've made it to the end of stage 1. We've got our boss to go and take out here. The boss also conforms to the color scheme. So most of the bosses in this game, in fact all of them, are multi-stage. So first off, we go and destroy this boss's outer armor, and then they go and deploy a couple extra cannons that we'll have to go and avoid. So each ship has a unique style of bomb. This one is a nice fire sweep from the bottom up, going and making it really nice and easy to go and clear both enemies and shots from the stage itself. The Raptor ship goes and has a really powerful beam weapon that does go and last longer than the other bombs. Wow, some good shield points. So, bonus points. At the end of the stage, once you go and actually complete it, you go and get points off of your performance and then stars. So I've matched my best performance with this stage by going and getting 4 stars, which I was actually surprised that I managed to go and achieve that. So, yay! But anyway, I was going and talking about bombs. So the Raptor here, of course, has that fire wave that goes and sweeps the screen from the bottom up, and then the Vector ship goes and has a more traditional bomb where it just goes and is kind of a circular explosion radiating out from the point of where your ship is when you go and deploy the bomb itself. Other things to go and note about the title. Oh, by the way, so we're on the blue world now, where the ships go and have a blue color scheme overall to them. The scoring is definitely nice, but on the simplistic side for this one. So you go and gain a score multiplier up to ×8 for going and defeating enemies. But if you happen to go and run into a period where you're not going and actually fighting enemies, that multiplier will go and drop. Fortunately, that's going to rarely be the case, as they do go and keep the enemies going and coming at you relatively constantly. So, unfortunately, I do not know at this point how to go and unlock the other 2 ships that are available in the game. So, unfortunately, I wasn't able to go and try them out before going and making the video. I am assuming it might have something to do with either going and clearing the state, or rather the game, with either one continued clear or maybe clearing it on one of the later higher difficulty levels. I've cleared it on beginner, but I haven't gone and cleared it on the later 2 difficulty stages yet. Oops. So definitely one thing to go and note about the title is overall it's on the shorter side. There are only 5 stages total, and each stage is roughly about the same length, though the last stage is a little bit longer with a more complicated multi-stage boss than the other stages go and have. So whether you'd be interested in this title, a lot of it would go and depend if you're interested in the length and the replayability of having the multiple ships. It is also 2-player simultaneous co-op, although local only. So if you go and have the ability to go and play with somebody else, that might also go and be a selling point as well. But one advantage to all of this, though, is as far as its overall price on Steam, it is actually very affordable. So if this is a title that goes and looks interesting to you, I would highly recommend going in and checking it out, as I've definitely gone and enjoyed what I've gone and seen here. Although the soundtrack hasn't really impressed me all that much, and initially I was a little bit baffled by the choice of single colors for the enemies on the individual stages. Although by the end it was definitely starting to grow fuzzy on me. So you've got green for the first stage, blue for the second stage, red for the third stage, kind of a turquoise for the fourth stage, and then black with red highlights for the final stage. So we are at the second boss of the game. One thing I do want to go and point out about this that particular boss is it reminded me a lot of the round. I'm not even sure how best to go and describe it, but the round enemy that goes and surrounds you, and in stage 2 of Radiant Silvergun. So I definitely enjoy that little, I'm not sure if it's actually intentional or not, but that little bit of homage. So that's my best performance on that stage as well, 3 stars versus the 2 that I'd gotten before. Stage 3. So the boss isn't red despite the rest of the stage going and being themed that way. That'll just about wrap it up for me with this episode of Shoot 'em Up Saturday. So as I went and mentioned, if you're interested in this title, I would recommend going and checking it out, as it's not very expensive on Steam. Especially if you can go and get it during a Steam sale period, it's definitely worth your money, and I feel it's worth your time as well. It's great to go and see so many indie shoot 'em up titles going and releasing on the platform. We saw quite a few of that, especially in the later half of last year, and I'm hoping that 2016 goes and brings the same. So that's our episode of Vector Strain. I want to thank you so much for coming out and joining me today for Shoot 'em Up Saturday. As always, if you go and have other shoot 'em ups you think I should be going and checking out, or other titles in general that I should go and be looking at on the channel, please leave those in the comments below. I'd love to go and hear from you. Once again, Happy New Year. I hope everybody has a great 2016. Thank you so much for coming out and joining me today on Fitaurus Kitchen, and we'll go and see you next week.